By concern, this matter is adjourned to the 27th of July 2018 at Pietermaritzburg. The reason for that is that Pietermaritzburg has more accommodation and is very easy to manage a case of this nature. And secondly, at the request of accused number 2's defense, she will be excused from attendance on the 27th because that will be a holding date. There are still some applications to be lodged, as Mr. Hali for the accused number 1 has indicated that accused number 1 still wishes to pursue the his review application, and there could also be some other application still waiting for the outcome of the matter, which is before court in Gauteng, in the application lodged by the DA and EFF. So at the moment, it's still early to say when the matter can be set down for trial. Mr. Downer, hopefully by the 27th of July, I think maybe some of the outstanding issues will be resolved, and the arrangement with the JP, as you have asked in chambers, whether there will be the same judge dealing with the matter. So far, I cannot be in a position to answer the question, but I hope by July 27th you'll know what will happen. Thank you. So the matter is adjourned to the 27th of July 2018. Accused number 1, you want to attend court on that day until you are excused from further attendance.
That's complete.
And accused number 2, you are excused from attending court on the 27th of July at the request of your counsel, but you will be later informed as to how the matter will further be conducted, whether your presence will still be required. It's not that you excuse indefinitely. You must not misunderstand that.
Please.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any other thing?
That is all the business of today, my lord.
All right. Court adjourned.
Well done, Michael. On the side, huh? He's number 2.
As you'll have it, it was anticipated that the court proceedings in the former President Jacob Zuma's case would be short and brief, and so it's concluded now. Court has been adjourned, and those are live visuals from the Durban High Court where former President Jacob Zuma is appearing. We also have our reporter Patisa Mfuyo who will give us the details. It seems like a very jovial, I suppose, a characteristic of a former President Jacob Zuma, always wearing a smile and shaking hands with the supporters and members in the gallery. We'll give you details as that story develops. And on to other news items now. Over 600 ANC delegates are expected to converge at the University of Zululand at the weekend for the party's 8th provincial elective conference. The party is expected to elect its new leadership following the suspension of the Provincial Executive Committee amid infighting allegations and court battles that marred the province. Afro Worldview reporter Patisa Mfuyo has more.
The provincial task team says they have successfully convened 6 regional conferences and have surpassed the 7% threshold.
All the branches that have raised issues were listened to and were given fair chance to raise their concerns. The committees responsible of listening and addressing those issues addressed all issues. There are branches that did not pass the audit, and those branches that did not pass the audit will not participate.
3 regions, Moses Mabhida, Herigwala and Lower South Coast, have been disbanded. However, the party resolved that these regions attend the conference as non-voting delegates.
The RCs of the regions, 3 regions, have been disbanded in the province. Firstly, Lower South Coast and Moses Mabhida, they've been disbanded together with Herigwala. So their RTTs will participate, will be represented, but as non-voting delegates.
Mike Mabuyakhulu, the convener of the provincial task team, says branches want to emerge from this conference united to ensure the success of the 2019 elections.
We are very clear that it is important that we should be able to ensure that post this conference, we emerge much more stronger, much more united, much more focused. And indeed, we know that the immediate task of this conference is to lead society, but also to be able to ensure that we lead a victorious campaign that will take us to win the next year's general elections.
Also showing confidence in the province state of readiness is the party's Deputy Secretary General, Jesse Duarte.
The province is ready to go to Congress. 4 branches from Lower South Coast could not be given permission to go ahead to Congress. There were definite problems there. With regard to Moses Mabhida, we stood ready yesterday all day to listen to disputes. The disputees then declared that they prefer to go to court. We're awaiting that.
ANC Chairperson Gwede Mandasha is expected to give the keynote address at the conference. Well, with the ANC Provincial Conference here in KwaZulu-Natal all set to go this coming weekend, the question is who will be elected as the new provincial chairperson and also the PEC structure of the province. For Afro Worldview, I'm Patti Samfuyo in Durban.
South Africa is observing World Oceans Day as observed by all member states of the United Nations. The country is a maritime nation with jurisdiction over one of the largest exclusive economic zones in the world. South Africa is also unique in that it is surrounded by 3 ocean spaces, namely the Atlantic, Indian and Southern Oceans. And oceans support tourism, food security and recreation. The South African government says the protection of oceans is the cornerstone of sustainable ocean development, which underpins economic opportunities that provide significant job creation and livelihood security. Mental Affairs spokesperson Albi Modise discussed the importance of observing this day and the negative impact pollution has on the environment.
World Oceans Day effectively is a day set aside globally to remind global citizens of the significance of the oceans, what the oceans offer in terms of food, but also the fact that our actions as humanity inland have got a contribution to the health of the ocean. At the heart of it is about also ensuring that tourism thrives. Tourists will not come to a country where the beach area is it's littered. So we need to make sure that at the ultimate end, it's about the economic spin-off that come out of the tourism sector, but also the health of our ocean is at the heart of the food security.
Gun control is under the spotlight following this week's shooting of a learner by his father in Ennerdale, Johannesburg. The man appeared in the Lenasia Magistrates Court yesterday on charges of murder. He's accused of shooting his son outside his school. He claims he fell asleep while waiting for the teenager, and when the boy knocked on the car window to wake him up, he was startled and opened fire, fatally wounding his son. Police say the father mistook the boy for a hijacker. The incident has sparked a debate on community safety and whether guns should be banned.
As SANCO, we found it to be very difficult to really agree with the notion that guns are there to protect people. In many cases, the very same guns which are bought for nothing, they leave tragedy in the families. How many of people who have been claiming to have a licensed firearms, but when we go to the next door neighbor, if not into the schools, their kids stole those guns and go and shoot other people if not other learners accidentally, as they can claim. The very same man that is claiming to have mistaken his child to be a hijacker, his first mistake was to get into the school premises with a gun. And there, as Sanko, we strongly want to know, and we demand answers, that how he managed to pass the security gate. Because there at the security gate, they should have taken the gun and put it safe so that at the end we saved the life. But what is transpiring now, we try to post as if South Africa is a very dangerous country where you cannot live without a gun. How many of us who are living without a gun? You cannot come and claim that, no, that is for self-defense. No, it was machine gun which is meant to kill. And we are saying as Sango, we want a gun-free society. If there are people who want to be protected by guns, let's leave that job to the well-trained people. The duration of this training of these people is not enough. How if you claim to be a trained, you don't know what are you shooting? Obviously, you must be trained to shoot the target. In this case, people are missing the target, are shooting their own kids. In this case, kids are taking the guns they are going to shoot and leave agony in their neighbors. We are saying as Sanko, this must really be closed down. No one must have a gun except the police when they are on duty. South Africa can manage itself. The current minister, Begitele, is doing his best to say, return the guns. The police are well equipped. They will take care of ourselves.
We are aware that the crime in South Africa is very high, and criminals have declared the hunting season open on the population. So we cannot say South Africa must be a gun-free. First of all, those who are saying South Africa must be a gun-free, let them start with criminals. Let them disarm them first, and then from there we can follow afterwards. Because I've seen, I've visited so many stations, and 20% of our police, maybe you are unaware, they've been disarmed. They are working without firearms, and then they are sending them to dangerous situations. And then I'm about to reveal that secret. They've declared them unfit.
Data tells us and what the evidence is. And I think we've seen in a number of incidents in the last couple of weeks that, and I think someone else mentioned it, is that the very weapon that is bought to protect the family from the external danger is the weapon that is used to harm, and in this instance, kill a family member, irrespective of what the motive is. So, you know, I think for us, I'm interested in the Sanko position, but a gun in the home, a gun in a family, presents a whole range of risks. And I guess part of Gunfree's role is to raise awareness for individuals, for communities, for families, to think very carefully about what the risks are if you choose to have a gun.
And we go back to our top story now. Former President Jacob Zuma's corruption case has been postponed to July. He appeared briefly in the Durban High Court a short while ago, and Zuma's legal team requested a postponement after the head of prosecution's advocate Sean Abrahams rejected his request for a temporary stay of prosecution. And Zuma's accused of racketeering, corruption, and money laundering and fraudulent activities. And the case stems from the country's controversial arms deal. We have Afro Worldview reporter Nomosa Pungula joining us on the phone line. Good morning to you, Nomosa, and thank you so much for joining us. It was expected that this the postponement would be imminent, a very brief appearance by former President Jacob Zuma, but it's also anticipated that this is going to be a protracted technical case that won't see a conclusion very soon.
Supporters of the former President Jacob Zuma, and right now the leadership or people that are in leadership in the KwaZulu-Natal province, I'm talking about your Mike Mabuya Kulu, I'm talking about your Mishek Hadebe, I'm talking about all the other leaders that are part of this.
Can you hear the program? Well, We'll try and reconnect with Afro Worldview reporter Nomusa Pongola, who is outside the Durban Magistrates Court, where former President Jacob Zuma appeared very briefly, and that corruption case has now been postponed to July. As you can see, supporters of President Jacob Zuma outside the court singing songs and encouraging him. The ambience also overwhelming our reporter, so we do apologize for the poor audio quality there, but we'll get back to that story in a bit. We'll take a look now at what's making news headlines around the world, and we start in the United States. The Trump administration has started transferring suspected illegal immigrants to federal prisons. Over 1,000 asylum seekers will be detained in a bid to crack down on people entering the country illegally. The detained immigrants are awaiting civil immigration court hearings. And in Guatemala, the search continues for missing loved ones following last week's volcano eruption. At least 100 people have passed away, while 200 others remain unaccounted for. Meanwhile, the volcano is continuing to spew out ash and rocks. And in Canada, the Senate has approved a bill to legalize the recreational use of marijuana. The bill will go back to the House of Commons to either approve, reject or modify the draft law. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has committed to making marijuana legal by the end of the year. Now back home, former acting National Police Commissioner General Khomotso Phahlane is breathing a sigh of relief after the state withdrew fraud and corruption charges against him. Phahlane, his wife Beauty and car dealer Durand Snyman were the accused in the case. The former top cop and his wife were accused of accepting cars from Snyman as a form of benefit between 2011 and last year. And the trio were facing 6 counts of corruption as well as fraud. And the case was withdrawn after the court denied the state's application for a 3-month postponement. And we joined in studio by former Police Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane. Good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. I suppose that is the accurate way of describing your mood or demeanor, that you are relieved that these corruption charges have been dropped.
Well, first, good morning, and good morning to the viewers. I would have wanted to get to a point where a court is making a determination following the presentation of a case before such a court. Unfortunately, despite the fact that I was subjected to a trial through the media since 2016 in this particular case, those that are charged with the investigation are still not able to put a concrete case before the court. That in itself, I think it's an indictment on the system that cases are not thoroughly investigated, and that such cases are rushed to the courts to serve people's ulterior motives.
All right, we'll go back to those maybe that you could call your antagonists, but in the main, if you're saying that you've been persecuted by the media, one would argue that there is no smoke without fire, that one would be skeptical, especially if public figures are implicated in alleged corruption.
Well, the media has got the right to report on any story, and we surely will be unfair if we were to be overcritical on what they do. So that right is there, which must be exercised. But it is wrong if, for example, a matter is reported from one viewpoint without the other party being given an opportunity to express their view. Yes, there were these allegations about corruption, about cars, and I always welcomed an investigation. When there is an allegation, that allegation must be investigated. But I'm on record as having said that a competent authority must objectively conduct the investigation so that a case could be presented before a court, and one must get an opportunity to, share his or her view before a court, which unfortunately the same people who were supposed to be doing the investigation were leaking and doing the investigation through the media. Of course, I'm grateful that throughout this process, one enjoyed support from family, friends, and everyone who knew exactly why this particular matter had to be peddled in the media in the manner that it was done.
We'll go to the specifics of the case and the fact that you've vindicated and that you have had support. But in the main, I suppose mainstream media, as you're saying, that there has been this perennial cloud of corruption, that you are just generally corrupt, since you have taken office, or whether in your position as acting commissioner. Why then would that be if there isn't any merit or substance to those allegations?
Yeah. People, unfortunately, suffer from a short memory. They've got a syndrome of some kind. I did not only start facing these allegations at the point when I was appointed an acting National Police Commissioner. I faced these allegations since 2009. In 2009, there was an allegation that I used state funds to pay for or to host a birthday party. At the same time, there was an investigation that there was an amount of about 450,000 rands which was used for booklets and for employee health and wellness, and allegedly it was my responsibility. So these cases have always been there. You will recall that there was this Pop Crew dossier which was handed over to the former National Commissioner General Rea Piecha on allegations of corruption in forensic services. All these matters were investigated. In particular, the one of Pop Crew and allegations of corruption in forensic services, it was investigated, and there is a report which was produced, which report has since found the allegations to be baseless, and that there was no wrongdoing on my part, and most importantly, that many of the things that I was accused of were issues that were in the environment of forensic services prior to me assuming the role of the divisional commissioner there, and those were the reasons why I was asked by the former National Commissioner General Cele to take up the position of forensic services. So despite the fact that even the report has found nothing wrong, this current investigation, for example, was investigating the very same report which found no wrongdoing on my part. So you have commissioned an investigation which cost the state 736,000 rand, and you don't believe that report, and then it is part of the IPIT investigation. And the very same people who allegedly were whistleblowers then are the same people that went to IPIT for this. So there is also this thing of corruption relating to the awarding of the contracts. The contracts that they are talking about are contracts which some of them were awarded dating back 2006. I was not in the office of the National Commissioner. I was not in a position...
And you say that there have been extensive investigations, but I think there is still a skepticism in terms of the authenticity, the veracity, and whether these particular investigations have been thorough, or that there has been a level of a cover-up, because we somehow stuck on this thing that there is corruption. If it has been investigated and the desired outcome is not what we experience, then there is a question or a cloud of suspicion around the reports.
Well, why make it my problem? Because the allegations are against me. The investigation is not conducted by me. On the birthday party of 2009, that investigation was conducted by the Hawks, and the matter was taken to court. the investigation found no link with me. And even those that were accused, who happened to be my PA and a brigadier in the police, were found not guilty. In actual fact, they did not even have to testify before a court. So they were found not guilty. So why do we have an issue with that outcome if we conduct investigations to deliver reports to the court? The investigation relating to the pop crew allegations is an investigation that was sanctioned by the former National Commissioner General Pierre. She appointed a private forensic firm to conduct that investigation. That report was not communicated to me. It was communicated to her, which was then released 2 years after it was made available by the CPN Forensics. So if you have got issue with the outcome of the report, why is it my problem while I'm not the one who's appointing those that conducted the investigation? In this case, the investigation is conducted by IPIT and O'Sullivan. They present, they have an obligation to take a winnable case before a court. They have been in the public domain talking about this case since 2016. Why will you in 2018 not be able to present a case before a court?
Speaking of Paul O'Sullivan, who's almost made it a career, not only that he'd want to see President Jacob Zuma in court or even behind bars, including yourself, that he has a pile or a treasure trove of evidence that would put you away for a long time. What is the nature or the history between the two of you?
Cindy, I opt not to dignify Paul O'Sullivan with a response. He has said a lot of things about me. I don't know the person. In actual fact, the closest I came to him is during 2 court appearances that he was in court. But really, he's a person that I am not going to spend time talking about. His problems are his problems. If he has got issues, I think in the country where he finds himself now, there are so many people that can help him. But really, let me not make it an effort. He said to all of us that Phahlane built a house for 8 million rands. Him and Robert McBride have been talking about this forever. Can they come back and tell you where is that house? Where is the proof of that 8 million rands? The second thing we were told was someone bought me a music system for 80,000 rands. Despite the fact that they have got proof that I have paid for that music system, they will not come forth and say to you that this is what we have found.
But would you agree, though, that there is conflict of interest if that particular procurement was done with a service provider of the police while you were in office?
I have spoken to that matter before, and in my view, there is no conflict of interest. That particular person referred to had a relationship, a contractual relationship with National Treasury, from whose contract procurement realized in respect of what we use in the police. I did not go and ask anything relating to those services. I have spoken to the person, have an arrangement with her as an interior designer, and I have paid for those services. It doesn't mean that if the police are buying cars from Toyota, and I happen to have a Toyota, and I need spare parts from Toyota, I can't go there because the police are doing business with Toyota. It really has got nothing to do with me. Similarly, the relationship which is much spoken about with Mr. Snyman in respect of the cars now, the 2 cars, because there is this thing about Mr. Snyman bought me cars, and that was a Toyota Hilux and a Polo. And I have accepted that there are cars that were in our possession as a family. Those cars were sponsorship vehicles for community outreach programs. I have never been in any of those cars because I've got my own cars. And those were his way of contributing to community development in our community outreach programs. Now,
and how you're not referring to your personal, your family estate, as it were. You're talking in your capacity as the acting commissioner, that the outreach programs would have then been for the benefit of policing and community policing more specifically.
No, this has got nothing, the outreach program that I'm talking about has got nothing to do with the police. It is, as a family, our own way of giving back to the communities. I've got young children who, for example, will deliver food parcels and whatever to the needy. When it is winter, we will put money together, buy blankets, and through our church, take those to the needy. I, for example, over the past year or two, have been building a house for a family which did not have a roof over their top. There's no obligation for me to do that through the police. And I don't need the police permission to participate in our efforts as a family to make a difference in the community that we find ourselves in.
And what's the way forward now? Because the case of corruption against you, which was withdrawn, was not necessarily ventilated as you would have wanted. To examine the strength of it, the evidence and witnesses, etc. It was mainly, essentially on a technicality. Is that something that bothers you?
Look, the one thing that we must understand is that the withdrawal of a case doesn't necessarily mean that the case cannot be reinstated. I think it will be fair to allow the investigation to be conducted. I was hearing that there is a broader investigation. Let the investigation be conducted, and if there is evidence of any wrongdoing on anyone's part, let that case be brought before the court. And if I'm one of those that are to be before a court, I will welcome such. I will present myself before a court and deal with it accordingly.
We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. All right, that's former Police Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane joining us in studio in reaction to the case of corruption and fraud that was withdrawn. And the family, as he's articulated, rather relieved with this, but it does not mean the end as yet, as it may just as well be reinstated. For now, though, we take a quick break. Thanks for staying with us.
They've arrived. The DSTV Explorer deals you've been waiting for. Get yours today at the incredible price of only 999 Rand. Or fully installed for only 1,699 Rand. Deals so out of this world that you can't afford to miss out. Get them at these leading retailers now.
So graduated in the first week of December, so that would probably make it approximately 6 months of waiting.
Policy document that we are developing will address all of the concerns. That policy document will give guidance with regard to South African nationals as well as foreign nationals as to how they can come and practice in South Africa and serve our communities.
That if it was possible, that they would give us this post, even if they're unfunded, so that we or I can finish the internship and be independent.
It's very difficult at this point, but considering that I've been sitting at home doing nothing, I would actually be willing to work for free.
back, and thank you so much for staying with Live Report on Afro Worldview with myself, Cindy Mabi. Time now for the latest news headlines at 10 a.m. The Durban High Court postpones former President Jacob Zuma's fraud and corruption trial to the 27th of July. President Cyril Ramaphosa says a land reform is not a threat, but an opportunity to change the country's economic structure. And a showdown looms between Eskom and workers as they lock horns over wages. And a top story this hour, former President Jacob Zuma's corruption case has been postponed to the 27th of July. Zuma appeared briefly in the Durban High Court a short while ago, and his legal team requested a postponement after the head of prosecution's advocate Sean Abrahams rejected his request for a temporary stay of prosecution. Zuma is accused of racketeering, corruption, money laundering and fraudulent activities. The case stems from the country's controversial arms deal, and we have Afro Worldview reporter Patisa Mfuyo joining us live from the Durban High Court. Good morning to you, Patisa, and thank you so much for joining us. Of course, it was a very brief appearance. Just give us a sense of the ambience. We saw former President Jacob Zuma supporters in song and dance outside the court. Just talk us through the proceedings in court.
Well, Cindy, it was a brief appearance by the former president here at the Durban High Court. We know that from the last time in April when he appeared, there were issues of a review application that he needed to submit. So this is what was discussed today. Of course, that application hasn't been made yet, but the matter has been postponed to the 27th of July at the Pietermaritzburg High Court. But one of the reasons for the postponement is the issue of funding for legal fees for this court case. We know that the DA and the EFF have lodged a court case where they want the former president to pay the 15.3 million that has been spent since 2009 until now for the court case. So this postponement is waiting for that judgment to hear what the judge will say about the legal fees, and that's when we'll get movement. But according to Billy Downer for the state, he says that as the state, they're ready to go to trial. That is on the 12th in November. They said that as the state, they're still waiting for the defense to give like a proper indication as to when they're going to submit that review and if the legal fee issue will be sorted out. But as the state, they're ready to proceed for November for the trial as it was set the last time. So as you know that this is the second appearance by the former president. But Cindy, I'm going to quickly move out of shot just now. If you can see behind me, the supporters are not as much as the last time. We know that there is that ANC conference happening starting today, actually. There are quite a few people, probably it's here at the outside the Durban High Court. The former President Jacob Zuma just made his way to the gathering to address the people that have come to support him. As I was speaking to Carl Niehaus earlier, I said that he knows that because today or this weekend rather, it's such a busy weekend, then they're not expecting as many people as they had the last time. So, but they do appreciate those who will be able to make it as most people are driving to Ongoye to register for that ANC conference.
And Patisa, as you were saying, I mean, we're dealing with issues pretty much on the periphery of what the actual charges are of corruption, racketeering, fraud, or fraudulent activities. We haven't even gotten to the meat of the case as such.
Of course, we haven't. That's why we're still dealing with processes leading up. We'll probably only get that in November. That is if the trial will continue then. But at the moment, everything is still waiting on that review application and also the High Court decision on the issue of legal fees. We know that the president also said that they're not going to object whatever decision that the High Court tells them. Whatever decision the High Court comes up with, they will abide abide by those rules. So at the moment, we still haven't touched anything in terms of this case yet. We know that, though, these are the same charges that were dropped, I think, in about 2012, 2013. So they have been happening since 2009, as Kalni House was saying that it's been 15 years going over the same thing. So they, as them, they say that as the loyal supporters, they supported the former president then, and they will still support him even now.
All right, Patricia, we're going to leave it there for the moment. Former President Jacob Zuma is addressing his supporters outside the Durban High Court, and that was our reporter, Patricia Mfuyo. We'll get more from her in a bit. We cut live to those proceedings.
Viva Limpopo, viva! Siyamthanda ubaba Jacob Zuma, siyamthanda. Hands off to our former president, hands off. We support ubaba Jacob Zuma for our life. We love ANC. Baba Jacob Zuma, siyafa ngawe, akekho umuntu azosiviba ngaphambili, thina eLimpopo sihamba nawe.
Ikhona the province, Satan. Please again. Northwest. Viva KZN FIFA. Viva KZN FIFA. Ubakamani KZN. Wazamhlonishwa.
Manda! Manda! Hayi akesithule maqaba. Akasiphinde emuva. No maguni khunibo. Siyaya. Siyaya. No maguni khunibo. Siyaya. Siyaya. No mabesi tubula. Besi bapa. Beskalanga. No mabesi tubula. Bekamba manga. Besi bapa. Comrades. Siyabonga ukuthi nibe khona. Kuvela insizwa manje kwafana. Kuvela amashinga amasekusha. Ya, ngathi ngesonto edlule angaze ngibe member kaMandela mina. Angaze ngibe member kaMbeki. Angaze ngibe member kaZuma. Angaze ngibe member kaNoma. Sihlushwa abantu. Othatha labeka lakhe khuluma ngabo umhlusho loze khuluma nekhosas. Abangarizini abangacabanga. Asifuni iphi comrades. Kuna sisa. Comrades, I want to clarify one thing bese ngihlala phansi. There's a notion ekhona la. Kade ngibuka i-journalist ngiyayibona la ngeke ngibize ngoba ngifuna ukuyidiscredit. He's pushing the agenda ukuthi uZuma is living in such a blue lie. It's a lie. And he's doing everything in his power to sell the story of Zuma might leave the ANC. I want to correct that perception. Amanda! Mhlawumbe abanye abantu abanaso isikhathi ngasiyaqala lo mshwalense mhlambe 6, 7, 8 hours. Le nto ntshelwa yona ukuthi uZuma khona afuna ukuyiqamba. Akahlanye ekhaya. Akabhule ekhaya. You don't become popular by writing the stories you fake. You don't become popular. Sengihlala phansi ngicela ukuthi nginqamalala. Hayi sikhona baba. Sikhona ke bomboka shefu. Sikhonezela wena mfowethu gcina amazwi ngoba insizwa siyakwazi. Ya. Sakhathwa nje kade asabu. Sabe ensiphele. uNkulunkulu.
All right, those are court proceedings earlier on in the Durban High Court as former President Jacob Zuma appeared briefly in the corruption, racketeering and fraud charges. And we have a reporter, Patti Samfuyo, on the ground there. We do apologize for the quality of the audio. We're getting our technicians to get back to that. I believe it has been resolved. Now we go back to Jacob Zuma's supporters addressing him.
Zumelus Hosiamazu Mamalala Baba Huyeno Sihola Baba Huyeno Sihola yo Tina Mshulozi Tina Tina Mshulozi Tina Tina Pokatina Mazutina Amanda
Viva Eastern Cape, viva! Viva Eastern Cape, viva!
Amandla! Uzoyithola kanjani? Uhlele koneni? No, thank you very much, Program Director. Our message is very clear. We are coming from the Eastern Cape. There are a number of comrades who are coming from the Eastern Cape. We are here to support the leader of our revolution. Every epoch, there's a leader of revolution. Today, the leader of our revolution is Comrade Jacob Zuma. We are talking about a hero of our liberation struggle. But if we are talking about this phase, we're not talking about the economy in this country, we're not talking about the land in this country. President Comrade Jacob Zuma is the leader of that revolution. Because the land question in South Africa must be able to be addressed as yesterday, because it's a long issue. Is that we have that responsibility? Is what Comrade Jacob Zuma is leading, comrades. As why all over the country we must support Comrade Jacob Zuma, because he's under attack. Even during the apartheid times, it was feared. If you talk about Comrade Jacob Zuma, you talk about Comrade O.R. Tambo, you talk about Comrade Chrisan, they were feared by the system. But the person who's still alive today is Comrade Jacob Zuma. That's why the white monopoly capital, including the white media, is continuing attacking Comrade Jacob Zuma, because they want to kill Comrade Jacob Zuma. We are here as the masses in this country. We are going to defend Comrade Jacob Zuma. We did that in Pretoria, in the NGC, in Polokwane. We are going to do that today, because we must be able to address the issue of land. My last point, comrades, land is not going to come through only amending a constitution. Land in this country was taken through wars. Our people, they fought wars of resistance. If we think land is going to come in this country through peaceful means, we are playing comrades. We must be forceful on the question of land. We must be able to take land by force without asking any permission in this country. Amandla! Amandla! Long live Comrade Jacob Zuma, long live. Phila ngona phakade ncamalala, phila ngona phakade. Akekho umuntu ozakuphatha.
Viva, 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 Nyosi, viva.
Ubambe lwenkonzo umthwalo wesinda khungula usothabo lenkomo enthando yehlula ufana noDaniel kwabaseBhayibhelini obesemphwathweni wangonyama amaphube esemkhothe inyawo unojwayele uhlale esemadilini eDA botshoza ndaba semkhohleni siyazafika kuqala kuHelenzini usuyojula ukuze sule ngesaka ngohono nomshatho izimbemba unopendupendo kathula imadonsela impofu abayicinge bayifunga ibheke oketweni nikobe dumele niyosala nemvunga inkohlakalo hasukuma umsholo sadluketo umphoboso amakhade engasaqali kadwa hoqoqwada buqawuqawu sipho goboye eParliament besokhalela ithabo lenyoka emakhadakada ebizothula istate of the nation yathunukala imhluphethu thwane namakhada buqephu mana manuZuma uyenzile indaba ofika eParliament kwacima ibane simbona uNtwazana yathuthumela basaba amagalelo okungcwaqwangcwedi isiphepha esishaqonkani yatsha siyasebalatha mtholampilo njengabakhulelo inhleleke lihlabafazi adlamadoda ibhlile ulikota eParliament umhlazathathatheli ozilenkomazi musima imani imphuka waqhoba inzipho onokugama beFF futhi benzihlalo njengabaqina mbayani futhi bezihlalo malema ofuthi bezihlalo udlozi ofuthi bezihlalo shofambo hashi vathela ka thoba katela ukhathela ulindiwe masibuko wayahla wangibithe ehlalweni washithi AZK wakhathela uHelenzini wayahla wangibithe ehlalweni washithi ikhusu mayimane unokhokhela bamnyama kuyohlatshwa amanyala Democratic Alliance eyitsalela se-New National Party ingophesha samzansi ugabagaba bayifananga mathe kwaloku wenkandla babonga igolide abokuhamba mlomo Africa sokuma ukhulume othi usengubhanki muntu ku-United Nations wahlula ngo-French coin Holland kuma-French ovunywe i-OAU ungodo maghalela ayaxoxa ashenge siginci nani magwale ngabathi uvumeni ovunywe i-SADC ungodo maghalela ayaxoxa ashenge siginci nani magwale ngabathi uvumeni ovunywe i-G20 ungodo maghalela ayaxoxa ashenge siginci nani magwale ngabathi uvumeni ubudengeza luyisikhe uphunyuka bemphethe ngwala.
Hey, Kosas. Viva Kosas, viva. Viva Gauteng, 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 viva.
Amandla! Amandla! Viva Msholozi, viva! Viva Gauteng from Msholozi, viva! Sikhona nathi from Gauteng, sikhona! Sikhona from Joburg, sikhona! Sikhona from Sidibeng, sikhona! Sikhona from Ekurhuleni, sikhona! Sikhona from Pretoria, sikhona! Sikhona from Vaal, sikhona! Sithi siyakuthanda Msholozi, siyakuthanda! Siyakuthanda Msholozi, siyakuthanda! Sithi wena blade akuthule uyaphapha awuthule amandla amandla viva Gauteng from Msholozi viva viva
Black Caucus, viva Black Caucus, viva. Viva, viva, viva Black Caucus. Sicela sebekhulumile behlele ngezansi stage sethu asisivumeli kahle. Siyacela mase bekhulumile ba behlele ngezansi. Amandla. Viva Black Caucus, viva. Viva Kosatu, viva. Viva na Kosas, viva. Ikosas ayize Caucus, ayize ikosas. Was a Kosas, was a Kosas. Young, these are the future of this revolution.
Forward with free education, forward. Panting of school fees, panting. Forward with President Jacob Zuma, forward. Unite, ANC, unite. Ours is very simple as Kosas. We've stated clear that we support all former leaders of ANC. Even if it was Comrade Mbeki who was here, we were going to come in numbers to come and support him. So it mustn't be like that. We are here to support President Jacob Zuma only. And we are warning ubaba wala eNatali ole esikhungweni esiphezulu abathathe imhlangano insuku ezintathu imeeting eresolve ngokuthi akuyisona sinqumo esihamba phambili sithi upresident uMsholozi akayidistance from inhlangano e-18 ANC sithi we are aware ukuthi Comrade Blade is bitter simply because he failed to implement free education. He was always saying free education is not simple to implement it. But under the leadership of President Jacob Zuma, we received free education. So he's now getting the platform to revenge by saying President Zuma should distance himself in programs that has to do with the ANC. We are saying President Jacob Zuma is now a citizen of South Africa who's willing to support ANC in winning the elections in 2019. Forward with President Jacob Zuma, forward. Phansi, phansi ngabangabadayisi phansi.
Viva RET, champion viva. Was a comrade, was a Musabsa Kaula, was a comrade, was a viva, viva RET, viva.
Amandla, awethu, viva Jacob Zuma, viva.
Viva President Zuma, viva! Viva President Zuma, viva! Awubuye umhlaba wethu awubuye. Phansi na white monopoly capital phansi. Phansi nabelungu abathatha umhlaba wethu phansi. Awubuye umhlaba wethu awubuye. President, leaders in front of me, nabakalizwi siyanibingelela. Thina kwethu sizothi sameseka umongameli uNxamalala. Ngoba siyazi ukuthi lamanga akhulunywe ngaye angamanga aluhlaza bamsukela ngoba ufuna ukuthi umhlaba wethu ubuyele kithi. Thina ke njenge RET champion simele inhlangano eziningi ze civil society simele amadela ngokubona business forums simele National Funeral Practitioners Association of South Africa simele National Unemployed People's Trust simele Asidle Sonke Business Forums simele bonke osomabhizinisi abamnyama sithi ngazizwilinye Nxamalala siyabonga ngomsebenzi osenzele wona wokintroduce radical economic transformation in our country. Sithi asikubona kunye okungenza lelizwe liphume enhluphekweni esibhekene nayo phofu bongasebenzi ngaphandle ukuthi amabhizinisi abantu abamnyama axhaswe. Bathi ke namhlanje sinecala masithi imali yomuntu omnyama iye kumuntu omnyama ingaye belungwini. Namhlanje sizontshela abantu bakwethu ukuthi ukuba kukhona into ongayenza as a revolutionary cause, spend your black rand with a black business. Hamba uye kwi-tuck shop yangakini yokwenza igrosa. Hamba uyoxhasa ibhizinisi langakini ukwenzela ukuthi ingane yomuntu omnyama one day will live a same life as children of other races. Baba Nxamalala City, we stand behind you 100%. Comrade Supra, we stand behind you 100%. All the RET forces, sibonile ukuthi they are being purged. Thina njengama revolutionary cadres, si prepared to defend. Thina si prepared to defend ubaba uNxamalala. Ngoba siyakholwa ukuthi ayikho inkantolo la eSouth Africa neutral engakwazi ukutrial ubaba uMsholozi. Ubaba uMsholozi is innocent. Kuyoba uJesu kuphela okwahlulela ubaba uMsholozi. Mr. President, first sinezinto esithi sizokubongela zona ukuthi uthe u30% wamabhizinisi noma ngabe kephi awuye kubantu abamnyama. Sizokubonga ngoba uthe education, tertiary education mayibe mahala kwingane ze working class. Sengivala ngithi qina Msholozi qina. Qina Nxamalala uzonqoba qina. Amandla. Forward to spirit of no surrender forward. Viva black business, viva. Viva black business, viva.
Amanda, 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 Amanda. Viva SA Transformer, viva. Transformer SA.
Amanda! 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 Comrades, friends, Baba Msholozi, dignitaries and everyone here. Today we must talk about the realities of our country. We must talk about the issues that are affecting our people. And for that I want to take you back to a particular memory that we have forgotten in South Africa, that we come from the liberation struggle days. We are not people who were just ukamuga nje. We came from the streets. Remember those days? We organized in primary schools. We organized when we were still in townships. I know Slalangema suburbs these days, but that does not mean you don't have that heritage. So in those days, when we used to organize,
there was struggle songs that kept us alive. These are the traditions that we must not forget, and I want to just take you back to that memory. So if you can, please sing along with me. Senzenina, 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 senzenina. Umhlaba lona, tuina sautat. Umhlaba lona, sautata tina. Economile, saitata tina. Economile, saitata tina. Umnotolo, sautata tina. Umnotolo, sautata tina. Tulululu, tulululu, tulululu. Tulululu. So this is what Amanda. So comrades, we grew up in this struggle. We understand the songs. Compose your songs, live your tradition, go back and reorganize yourself. We are unapologetic. We were disappointed last night as Transformer SA when we had our own state president, President Cyril Ramaphosa, openly telling Afrikaner people that he is not going to change the constitution in order for us to expropriate land without compensation. It's unacceptable today that we are chiefs, that we cannot have our land, that we are the people of South Africa, that we have been removed from our land and we cannot have our land. The second issue is the issue of economy. You are 80% people in this country and you don't even own 3% of this economy. It is unacceptable. We cannot continue sitting whereby we are all languishing in poverty, where a 1% white men, mostly who don't even stay in South Africa, are enjoying everything that we are doing. Tina siyasebenza nje. Our unions are telling us that we must be better workers. For what when we don't own anything in this country? It is unacceptable. There is an issue that is going to collapse South Africa. The issue of IPPs. Independent power producers are taking over Eskom and they are privatizing it. We must say no, all of us. City, no, we are not going to allow. If you don't have electricity in this country, you are not going to be developed. You cannot build your factories as radical economic transformation. You are not going to develop your land. You are not going to develop your industries. You cannot make anything. So these people are deindustrializing us. They are undermining radical economic transformation. So, comrades, we must go back. We must go and demand that the ANC must call for a special NGC. It is the only condition why we will support the ANC in 2019. A special NGC. Amanda! Amanda!
Viva Black Caucus, viva! As a comrade.
Maibuye, iya Africa, one settler, one bullet. Thank you very much. My name is Ronald Munyaigundo. Ndimuvenda. Navavenda va supporta Ngamalala. On behalf of Black Caucus, allow me to read this. Today we are here, not because we wanted to be, but because the capital the white capital system subjected one of our own under manufactured corruption charges. Little did they know that such will unite us as the RET forces. Today we are here to show solidarity with Umkhulu Zuma, the father of free education, the originator why white people have to march for the first time in their existence in this country. Today we are here to defend Msholozi with everything that we have, even though we don't have anything but courage, compassion, love to each other. Msholozi is the epitome of poverty. Poor black majority of this country. That's why we get easily to relate with him. We are all here knowing exactly that standing in unison, in solidarity with him, in turn will become economic victims, and we are prepared for any casualties. Some of you are going to be fired from where you are working. Some of you, allow me just to finish this one. Some of you, we are prepared for any casualties. Some of you are going to be fired from where you are working just for supporting Umkhulu Zuma. Allow me to finish. Allow me to read the last part of this. Even today, we are still waiting to hear what will happen to the following. Absa bailout of 1.6 billion. Steinhoff of 16 billion. Prof. Ray Marcus and Deputy Vice Chancellor of Finance Yako Van Square, who stole 25 million from UJ. Glencore, that caused the load shedding to this country. Andrew Coleman, former CEO of SA, who was paid 200 million for working only 14 months to bankrupt SAA. These people, all of them, they never set their foot before the court, but only Msholozi is being subjected under such injustice because he's fighting for RET.
Viva PLF, viva! Viva PLF, viva!
Niyabasabana! Niyabasabana! Comrade President Ngamalala, Comrade Supra, Comrade Andile Lungisa, and all of you revolutionary forces for radical economic transformation, Nyani Bingelela. When they removed President Zuma, they said he is bad for the economy, he's bad for governance. President Zuma can report today that in fact the economy is down, the rent is down, VAT is up, petrol is up. Uramaphosa uyamosha. Kodwa bekuthiwa uyanawuza by President yaphambili. They said in Parliament, they're going to give us land. Lee comrades, there's no land. They are coming here to tell us, to ask us if we want our land back or not. They mad. Instead of taking land from Rupert, taking land from the Oppenheimers, bahlasela isilo, bathi imali ingonyama trust iphele, sithi phansi, ngabathi ingonyama trust iphele phansi. Comrade Zuma, we're here to report to you that there's no leadership in this country. All of us are made to fight amongst each other about naming airports, when instead we should be fighting for our country, for our land, for our mines, for our banks. We're talking about airports. Msholozi, leaders, ERT, comrades, only radical economic transformation is the answer. Let me just also report, comrades, you know that Batum Msholozi is involved in some corruption of 4 million rand. We know that these so-called charges were what I want you to go home with today is this, a very sad situation. Uhulumeni uchitha imali more than 100 million efuna ukubopha uMsholozi for 4 million rand ebathi imosheyiwe. Comrades, let us send a message to Blade in Zimande, to Vavi and Malema. Together with Helen Zille, they say Msholozi is corrupt, but today they are going to court to say Msholozi must not get legal fees because they know Msholozi akana lutala. That is why now they want to take away his legal fees. Panting at DA Panzi. Panting at DA Panzi. Siautatu mhlaba siautata. Siautatu mhlaba siautata. Siautatu mhlaba siautata. Siautatu mhlaba siautata. Amandla. Thank you very much.
Viva MKMVA, viva.
Amandla. Amandla. Viva NC, viva! Viva NC Women's League, viva! Viva NC Youth League, viva! Viva Msholozi, viva! Amandla! Comrade President, and also the Commander-in-Chief of the South African Defence Force until you retired, and one of the greatest commanders of Umkhonto weSizwe. I'm standing in front of you, comrades, proud that Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association can say that we support Msholozi. And we came here today in our numbers, wearing the fatigues of MK and MKMVA, because as soldiers we say that we will never leave another soldier behind on the battlefield. So, Comrade Commander, thank you for what you have done for us in South Africa, for the manner in which you dedicated your life to the liberation struggle, for the many years that you served in prison, but especially for the commitment that you displayed as the people's president, working for the people, working for radical economic transformation, for the return of the land to the people without compensation, for announcing free education, and working for a change in the economic structures in this country so that our economy can truly serve our people. Comrades, there's no other president since 1994 who have done more for the people of South Africa. And we have to tell comrades who do not seem to understand that, who sit in their meetings such as the South African Communist Party had done a couple of days ago, and the Secretary General of the South African Communist Party, Blade in Zimande, viciously attacking the people's president. And we must say to those comrades, enough is enough. Repeat with me, comrades, enough is enough. Comrades, no comrade must divide the African National Congress. No comrade must try and call a leader of the caliber and the nature of Msholozi someone who divides the ANC. If they do so, they tell blatant lies. If they do so, they try to provoke us. I said last night, when Msholozi said 2 days ago, don't provoke me, all of us as we stand here today, repeat with him, don't provoke us. Comrades, repeat with me, don't provoke us. Comrades, the African National Congress lives among the people. As I look at you here, you wear the colors of the ANC, not because you wanted to be in defiance of an NEC decision that said you should not come here with your colors,
but because you love the ANC. Because the blood of the ANC, the green, black and gold, pulses in your veins. The ANC can never and should never separate itself from the people. The people will never and should never separate themselves from the ANC. And our leader, Comrade Msholozi, will never separate himself from the ANC. We are one. Say it together with me, comrades. We are one. We are one. We are one. And I hope Comrade Bladen Zamande, wherever he is today, and I'm sure somewhere he must be watching this lovely crowd on a television screen. I hope he hears the message. We are one. And never, never, never try to divide us. The future of this country belongs to the people. The future of this country is radical economic transformation. And the person who led us to realize that, who led us to this point, where radical economic transformation must become irreversible, and where the people must empower themselves, was our people's president, Comrade Jacob Zuma. Comrade, for that, we thank you from the depths of our hearts. Amandla! Viva ANC, viva! Viva South Africa, viva! Viva radical economic transformation, viva! Viva Msholozi, viva! Viva Msholozi, viva! Amandla!
Viva Youth League, viva!
Tina sizwe, esimnyama. Sikalela, sikalela, izwe lethu elathathwa ngabamhlophe, mabawuyeke, mabawuyeke. Mabawuyeke, mabawuyeke. Amandla, matla, Haruna. Ngizoyishaya ngesiZulu ngingikhathele isona. Uyabona mengabe ama leader esefuna ukuba autocratic, esefuna ukudictator, engafika emabranchini azosibuza thina esibavotelayo ukuthi sifunani, bazoyithola sebesenkingeni. Lena akuyona inhlangano yomuntu oyedwa, umbutho wonke umuntu. Mihla namalanga namhlanje sine free education. Nengane zethu primary in future fanele zibe ne free education. Abakahle ukuthi bahlale lapha phezulu bangazi la kuthina. Abanye baba bazazi noma they are members in good standing. Balokho befona ungichecka lapho ukuthi ngisakhona yini. Ababuye bazothatha imandate from the branches. Asikaze thina sikhiphe mandate wakhisha umsholozi. Ubani owathi akhisha umsholozi? Ubani lo protectwayo? Iyiphi le agenda ephushwayo? Indaba mase kufanele kubuye umhlaba sithola imisebenzi mase kuthiwa usibani bani ucorrupt. I-corruption yaqala nini eSouth Africa? Yaqala nini i-corruption eSouth Africa? Hlala emjondolo sibaso paraffin ngenxa ye-corruption bani. Abasiyeke kuyikuthi khona abantu abadala la ngifuna ukuze ngiphambuke. Kodwa lento iyacasula thina siyintsha yalelizwe. Asambelana lento abayenzayo. Bebefuna ukuqhubeka benze ngalendlela benza ngayo, ngeke basilawule. Amandla. Awethu. Yalebo.
Comrades, Asibonge. Now it's time. I guess tetele. Okay. I guess tetele ukomrade Supra eze azothula ubaba wethu.
Ensi asebeletswa. Oh asebe. Ensi asebeletswa. Oh asebele halala. Oh asebe tete halala. Oh asebe ensi asebeletswa. Oh asebe ensi asebeletswa. Oh asebele halala. Oh asebele halala. Oh ase amandla kawethu matla kyaruna tsitsipela President Jacob Zuma tsitsipela. Tsitsipela President Jacob Zuma tsitsipela. Matla. Matla. Comrades, I'm just here to introduce our leader. But before I do that, I just want to say two things, because the main message comes from our president. In life, comrades, when you stand for something that is right, when you stand for something that is a principle, you must stay on what you believe no matter the consequences. If you believe that something wrong is happening in our society like the way it's happening to our president, we must stand on supporting our president no matter what happens. It must not matter what will happen tomorrow, what will happen next week, what will happen next year. We must stand on a matter of a principle. The second thing I want to say, and I hope the media will listen, it is very much unfair for some sections of the media in this country to find people guilty before they are taken through the processes of the country. It is very wrong to tell the people of this country. It is very wrong, comrades, for some of us who are leaders to say we must not be seen closer to President Jacob Zuma because we don't believe in him. If there are some who don't believe in President Zuma, we believe in him. He has been in the revolution since he was 15 years. Throughout his life, today he's 76. He is still active in the revolution. Therefore, anybody who says stay away from Zuma, that person requires some examination up here in the head. Now, you, the masses, you are the first line of defense of the revolution. You are also the last line of defense of the revolution. Anybody, comrades, who wants to attack the revolution, And who wants to do away with the leaders of the revolution? That person is attacking you, the masses. So as the Northwest comrades, we are here as Bukodibu Pirima. Halala Northwest, halala. Halala Northwest, halala. Tsitsipela Bukodibu Pirima, tsitsipela. We are happy that you are here, comrades. We are here to come and support President Jacob Zuma. Because we believe that is being done to him is wrong. To say that he's guilty when he's not yet found guilty. So we will forever support him no matter the consequences. No matter what happens, we will support